Hey guys, I am going to start posting some videos about tips and tricks for your Cricut machine. I get so many questions on my Etsy shop, what am I doing wrong? This isn't working. So this is my first one, and this one is 5. Okay, I had to cut it out of paper, right? It is really confusing though because I'm using the forward camera and I have had a hard time. Okay, but anyways, 5, I think I have it down. 5 tips and tricks for Cricut beginners. Okay, so I'm just gonna warn you here. This is probably for people who have just bought a Cricut and they haven't even done anything yet. But honestly, if you've had it even a year, maybe even longer, maybe some of these things will help you, because some of the things I was doing a really long time until I realized. So just in case you're in that bucket, and if you're not, then I'm sorry if this feels really pointless. But hopefully it's not. Okay, so let's start with tip number 1, and that is a new mat is not your friend. Okay, I know, new art supplies are awesome, but a brand new mat is kind of tricky. So of course, you buy a brand new Cricut, you have a brand new mat. So I got my mat out and I put my paper on there and I'm rubbing it down. I'm making sure it's sticking. I'm worried it's not gonna stick for some reason. And then I put it through and then I try to take the paper off and it's tearing and it's sticking and it's curling and it's awful. And so I realized a brand new mat, you need to gently set your paper down on it and maybe do some feather fingers over it. But really the first time you probably shouldn't even do the feather fingers. And put it through. And then as your mat gets older, then yes, you do need to burnish it and push down and rub it and make sure it's on there, and maybe even put some washi tape or painter's tape in the corners to make sure that it stays. But a brand new mat isn't as awesome as I thought that it should be. Okay, so tip number 2 is fold your mat. Okay. This sounds silly, I know. So when I first cut something, I thought I need to take care of this mat, and I used this tool. I don't know what its intended use is, but I think it came with my mat. So I thought, I would pull off all of the outside parts and then I would try to dig it up with my fingernail and then use this to get it off, and then my cut would be all curled and creased and terrible. And I probably did this for a year. I don't know. And then I saw a video, and I would give you credit, but I don't remember which one it was. And I know a lot of people are telling you this, and so maybe I shouldn't even post this here, but maybe this is the first video that you're watching. So just in case it is. So taking things off of your mat, fold them gently. I mean, don't crease it, but bend it. They can bend. And then your cuts just pop off like this, see? And then they come off so much easier. And that's what I'm saying too. The brand new mat, that's the hardest to get off. So if you're doing like a super intricate cut, well, it stinks because a brand new mat has no imperfections. It cuts it perfectly, but it's so hard to get off. So there's like a sweet spot in between a new mat and an old mat. But anyways, fold your mat and take these off like that, and you will have so much better success. Okay, tip number 3 is that your mat can go in your machine either way. Okay, I know that seems silly, but I didn't know. I mean, probably like a good 5 years I didn't know. I always put this part in first because this is the top, but really you can put this side in first. Okay, so what's that matter? It's that on a mat, I'm gonna show you my old one, which is slightly embarrassing because it's pretty dirty. But so when I first started cutting, I would put everything right here on the right hand corner, and then I started realizing like this is not sticky anymore, and then all of this is still sticky. So that's still part of this tip. So move your paper around, move it around. And I know it's kind of annoying when you say your paper is 8.5 by 11, but you want it to be over here, and you can't do that in Design Space, but just set it as 12 by 12 and then move your paper over. And you can see, on these numbers, they're on Design Space too. So you can you can even use a teeny scrap of paper and you can still know where it is. And so the nice thing about flipping it is that you can still put your 8.5 by 11 right here, and it's the same as if you had put it there, if that makes sense. I don't know, but I thought that was something useful to know, that you could put it in either way. Tip number 4, after I just showed you my dirty mat, is keep your mat clean. Okay, so I know that mat that I showed you does have some dirty spots on it. There are some things that you really can't prevent, but if you have like a big tear that happens, like scratch it off, get it off of there. And then the worst one is hair, when a piece of hair, and at first I just kind of left it all because I'm lazy, and the hair really is hard to get off because it breaks as you're pulling it, so you have to like really scratch it off, and it's super annoying. But if you leave it there, your blade can cause your blade to like skip and like not cut there. And then of course that's messy and not great. So keep your mat as clean as you possibly can. And I know that there are some people that say that you should wash it with like a Lysol wipe or I don't know, some other things. And I've tried that once and it didn't really clean it at all. And then it still was sticky afterwards, which I was impressed with, but I don't know. I don't recommend doing it. And I know there are people that like even put glue on it and then I don't know. These mats, I know they're kind of expensive, but they last, I think they last a good amount of time, especially if you're moving your paper around. So, but anyways, keep it clean. Okay, so my last tip number 5 is you need a new blade. Okay, I remember I was like 6 months in or something, and all of a sudden all of my cuts were like jagged and they were tearing and they were just terrible, and I was like, what? I couldn't figure it out. And then I don't know how I finally realized that these blades are just like an X-Acto knife or even a knife in your kitchen that needs sharpening. They go dull, and when they're dull, it doesn't work. So always keep some on hand. I have a ton. I order a big case of them just to have them on hand because sometimes they don't have them in your craft store or they're not on sale in your craft store. So keep them on hand and switch out your blade. So I hope that these tips and tricks helped you and it wasn't a complete waste of your time. And if you have any suggestions on tutorials or other things that you are wondering about or haven't been able to figure out, reach out to me, and if I know how to do it, I'll make a video on it, and I would love your suggestions. And I would also love it if you subscribed and liked my videos, of course, as everybody on YouTube does. I just want to make these videos to make, crafting with your Cricut easier, and hopefully that works. Check out my Etsy shop at hooraypaper.etsy.com, and I hope you have a great day.